Welcome, boys and girls. The most anticipated episode of the Jerk Circle podcast is right here. I know what every single person has been asking. Harold, when's the WrestleMania episode coming out? Harold, we love wrestling. Harold, are you single? Answer's no. But we got the WrestleMania episode. So I figured what's a better way to do the Jerk Circle podcast WrestleMania without some of the smartest wrestling guys that I know. We got Zach. We got Ryan. We even have Jared hiding in the shadows. Say hi, Jared.
Hi.
But
I love wrestling.
But Zach, Ryan, it's good to have you boys back on the podcast. How are you doing? How are you doing?
Doing great.
I'm doing awesome. I am drinking out of my Rhea Ripley WrestleMania Champion Cup right now.
Nice.
There you go.
Ooh, attaboy. Is it like mommy or like?
I wish. It's just WrestleMania 2024 Champion Rhea Ripley Cup.
Oh, where'd you get
I figured
that
it's
from?
fitting for the episode. WWE shop.
Oh, nice plug. You know, if they want to sponsor us, we'll take the money.
Yeah, we'd be happy.
Send us all old, used, merchandise, like, you want to give us, old Rhea Ripley clothes? I mean, I'm not complaining.
You could probably resell that if it was actually worth buy her.
Yeah, probably.
You're, trying to, Instagram message her. You're like, hey, did you wear this shirt? Can you sign your sweat
I'm not
mark
going to
right
go
here?
over well for very long.
No, I'm pretty sure. Oh, her man's gonna be like, "Yo, man, you want to go, bro?" And he's a pretty big dude, so I don't think it'd go over well.
Well.
But Zach, how are you doing, buddy?
Doing great.
That's great to hear. But I think we can kind of cut right into it, get it started. WrestleMania, we're here. It's been a year. How have we felt from the day one after WrestleMania last year to now? Did we like the way we got here? Was there some things we enjoyed, some things we didn't like? What do we feel about this road to WrestleMania that we've been on?
So I think the two main events have been the storytelling have been pretty good. Day one, the Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, it kind of writes itself, because how great all those guys are. The Cody Rhodes, John Cena one, I know me and Ryan have talked about this. The John Cena heel promos have been kind of but I think they've still built that they're both I'm excited to see.
I think definitely if you, last year coming out, we're like, hey, you're going to have the main events be the triple threat, you'd go, yeah, that makes a hell of a lot of sense. And then if you said John Cena versus Cody, I think more people would be like, oh, is this like Cena or Cody turning heel? Not the other way, because the Cena heel turn kind of came out of nowhere. It kind of felt like they weren't ever going to do it, and they kind of missed the mark. And then they did it, which is very interesting. I know some of the promo stuff. I know that's probably what Ryan's about to talk about here. So I'll let you want to say how you feel about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I totally agree on the Cody Cena thing. I thought Cody was going to be the one to flip heel. I like the idea that they've tried to get Cena to flip heel, but I'm with Zach. I just don't think the promos have quite worked. I think it probably would have been better in hindsight to have flipped Cody instead. He's had some good experience suddenly doing a heel flip. But, I mean, I'm excited for the match. I'm curious how it's going to actually play out. That's one I definitely don't have any clue on how it's going to actually end. It could go so many different ways.
I think with the Cena thing, it would have been better if they would have changed it up with him. Maybe have him come out looking or something different. But instead of this whole I'm not changing my song, my look. I don't know. I don't think it hasn't worked too much. I don't know.
Yeah, I have like two thoughts on it. Like, one, I don't think the affiliation with The Rock is necessarily the best bet. But even if they still wanted to not change that, I'm with you. I think they needed to do something different with his theme. I don't think they had to come up with a brand new theme song. I think they should have at
No.
least just went back to like the Dr. Thugonomics song that he used back when he was initially a heel when he was about to get fired. And that's like another funny thing. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, he turned heel." I'm like, he's technically been a heel before, just nobody really remembers.
Yeah.
Because most people weren't watching Velocity back in the day when that's where he was on.
I think if they weren't gonna change like the attire, they weren't gonna change the song and stuff. I think this was probably the best way they could have went about it with the whole like when you turn like him kind of almost making it meta, where he's like when you turn heel, you kind of get a new look, like a new theme song, a new attitude, a new this, a new that. He's like, I'm not gonna do any of that because that's for you guys, and you guys deserve nothing. So it's kind of like it's a heelish move to be like, I'm not gonna give the fans what they want anymore. They're gonna get the same thing that they've been getting. So on one hand, I kind of am like, that is kind of interesting to like mention that, but then on the other, it's like, man, some of the like the concepts of what a heel Cena theme could have been, like either Thugonomics or what what was it called? It was like the slowed down like hustle loyalty, uh, the you know, like when he was gonna turn heel after Once in a Lifetime, and like they had like this little short stint where they were like, yeah, we're gonna turn him heel against The Rock. They could switch roles, and then they never did that. He had like an absolute banger of a theme song. I thought they were gonna pull that out their ass. They didn't. They keep him with the thing now. Maybe once he wins the title, if he wins the title, he changes it, but I could see him just rocking with that for the rest of the year.
I will say one positive that I have out of it though is while I don't enjoy that he just comes out and seems to do promos, on the flip side, if I compare it to last year with the whole Rock heel thing, I'm glad that it's just not Cody Rhodes getting beat down on a weekly basis for a shock value either.
Yeah.
Because that got stale real fast.
I think the problem with WWE like weekly television, and I can't say too much about AEW. I feel like they kind of like to repeat stuff over and over and over again, where like for this whole thing, like one of the things I go back to is like Otis versus Chad Gable. Like they kept doing the same thing where it's like, oh, Chad's being a jerk. What is Otis gonna do? It's like Otis is gonna turn, and then nothing happens. Otis is gonna turn, nothing happens. It's like 3 or 4 weeks in a row where it's like if you strike while the iron's hot, maybe you make a star out of out of Otis and do something. But it's like we're gonna keep repeating it over and over again, and then you get to the point where it's like, well, fire's dead. There's no fire now.
Yeah,
So,
and
like,
I feel like kind of switching gears slightly, but I feel like that's the issue that's going into the Gunther Jey Uso thing. I felt like they kept waiting to pull the trigger on Jey Uso, and in hindsight, I think that match would have so much more momentum if they didn't give him that Saturday night main event against Gunther. I think if they just skipped that match and gave Gunther pretty much anybody else, then there'd be more buy-in for that match.
Yeah. Get back. Yeah, I'll get that one next. But so the two main events, I'm actually. So I don't know how either of them are going to go. And I like that. Because it doesn't, like. I kind of think Cena's going to win, but yet I'm not fully sure. And then the triple threat. I don't know how they're going to go. I think somehow it's going to be Paul Heyman's going to screw over someone. I think the kind of cool, the one I would like to see is I think it would be cool if he screws over Punk and Roman, like sides with Seth. That'd be kind of neat.
I think either that, or if he screws over Roman, and while screwing over Roman, Seth Rollins takes advantage and takes out Punk and sneaks out the win. So then there's just this like both guys fighting over Heyman managed to do nothing other than fight over Heyman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah, like
know
I said,
if I don't know if you caught the Raw episode this week. Towards when they did the whole triple threat promo, and they had Paul Heyman and Roman out there. Roman was like pissed off at Paul and like was throwing him to the ground and like berating him and
Uh-huh.
shit. So I could see a world where like you said, like maybe he's like, I'm screw you, Roman, I'm not dealing with this. Maybe somehow during the match he gets sick and tired of being tied with CM Punk. Maybe he decides not even to side with Seth, just walks away from it all. And then you have Seth kind of the opportunist come in and get the win. I think my personal bet is that Seth wins if I had to bet money. But also I could see them giving Punk the win. Main event, winning the main event. I don't think Roman wins it though. I think he's the least likely out of three of them to win it.
Yeah, I think for setting up storylines, that would be the least, one to do. But you never know.
The only thing I don't like with the triple threat is just that there's no major incentive behind it. Like I think like storyline, right? We have a good reason for why they have a triple threat. But I
Mhm.
wish there was like something hanging in the balance. Like
Yeah,
whoever
there's no.
ends up winning it is going to be a number one contender.
Yeah, there isn't anything with that. You're right.
May-
Missing that prize factor.
I
Mhm.
could see it maybe being like it's kind of understood because I feel like because Roman after WrestleMania he likes to dip anyway. If Roman comes back whenever he comes back, like SummerSlam, whenever, and he's like, I want the title, I want to go after the title, everyone would be like, yeah, sure, I get it. If CM Punk's like, I want to go win a title, yeah, sure, I get it. I guess the only one that would be a little tough is like Seth Rollins be like, I'm going after the title. It's like, well, you don't have that quite that. He's great, but I feel like CM Punk, Roman are kind of like at the point in their careers where it's like, if they want it, they can get it, and then Seth's like he has to work towards it. So maybe coming out of WrestleMania, that's kind of the story of like I won this triple threat with all like guys that are supposed to be Hall of Fame locks. I deserve a title match against John Cena at Backlash, or I deserve a title match at SummerSlam, or something like that. So I could see that, but I do wish there was a little bit more incentive for the triple threat.
Mhm. Yeah,
But
I agree.
I think the only other thing I have to say about the main event is, I guess for like Cody Cena, I could. Are you gonna be more upset or not? Would you like Rock, Travis Scott, whoever to come out and interfere? Would that piss you off? Would it? What would it do? Would you be okay with that?
Travis Scott would just annoy me because
Yeah, that.
it didn't make any sense for me in the first place that he got involved. Rock, I expect, but I expect that there's going to be some sort of retaliation against The Rock if he does show up.
Maybe a certain rattlesnake coming back.
Yeah, yeah.
He's
Maybe
gonna.
hear a little glass shattering.
I'd love that.
Could be. That would be interesting. Cool. Yeah, I gotta imagine that if John wins, it's obviously gonna be The Rock or someone interferes to help him get it. I can't see that they would have him win straight up over Cody. That'd be wild. But
Yeah, I mean, I know it was part of his promo where he's talking about Cody being protected, but I do think there is a point where they kind of have to do some sort of wonky finish if they're going to take the belt off Cody.
Mhm.
Because if he just loses clean to Cena, it's just going to be like, all right, well, do we have any real contenders besides, Roman at this point?
yeah, but how did? Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I was wondering that too. If Cena wins, who do you set up as the next guy? It would probably be a rematch with Cody. In that.
Well, I know Orton wants a rematch, so that's always a possibility. I mean, in general,
Yeah.
I think that's one of the reasons I wish there was some sort of incentive in that triple threat, and I wish it was more towards the world heavyweight over the WWE championship. I feel like the world heavyweight championship I feel like Seth did a pretty good job trying to get momentum on it, and then it's just kind of fallen apart since.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
kind of need a little, one of them top guys to go after that belt. Gunter's
Yep.
great. You know, Jey Uso is obviously going to push merch out the wazoo, but, like if Roman came after that title, if, Seth or CM Punk go after that title, they could really kind of make it into its own and not be the little championship that could.
Make it decent. I think Gunther CM Punk kind of late could be really good. Like they had did they have a match at one of the like free shows or something that people said was pretty good?
I think it was
Like they could work.
the Europe tour in London, maybe?
Yeah. So like that they could work, and that would probably bring some to it. I don't know. It's just as always when they combine titles like that, when they want to have two, it never works because then when they make a new one and it's not the person who has it, always lessens that one. So that's why I thought it was stupid when they unified them. Like,
Yeah,
if you're gonna have separate titles, it should never unify it.
I
Like, it should always-
personally, and this is getting a little off topic, but I personally think they should go back to just one elite championship and then use the undercard titles like the IC and the US championship as the champion of each show. And then have the actual champion go back and forth between the 2
Mhm.
shows. And they don't have to be on both every week.
Yeah.
They should be like on one week, on the other week. But then that keeps attention on the world championship and keeps the contention for it broader.
And that would raise up the US title and the Intercontinental title.
Yep.
That would be, yeah.
I think that having too many titles kind of make it so that each title's it's like owning shares of a company. Like if everyone has like a share of the company and there's like 18 people for it, it's like 18 people have a stake, but it's not as important. Whereas if it's like there's only 4 championships, there's only 6 championships in the company.
Yeah.
You have to be
Yeah.
one of the top 6, not one of the top 12 or top 14.
Yep. And I think that really gets shown with the women's titles because they finally gave them mid-card titles, but then they're never on TV because they don't have the time for it. And I'm like, you could have solved that by having a women's champion and then had the mid-card titles that actually get featured weekly and have done the same thing. I mean, I think the men's has the same problem, but it's like really shown with the women's titles.
I think that's a great segue, I think, for the women's tag team match, which I think showcases the biggest issue, I think, with the women's tag team. You have Raquel and Liv Morgan, who I like. I think that tag-wise, I think they're pretty good. But then the challengers, Bayley and Lyra, they're not even a tag team. Like, they just had a match for her Intercontinental title.
Weren't they just feuding over a mid-card title, and now suddenly they're supposed to be a team? It doesn't make any sense.
Like, they had, last week Raw, not this week, last week, they had a match for the title. Lyra won it. She kept it. And then on SmackDown, they had a tag team gauntlet, and they won it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like, they're not a tag team. They're just kind of thrown together because you're like, oh, we want to have Bayley on the card, and then, we want to have some representation of the mid-card. Well, then why don't you have Lyra have a match then? Or, I don't know, have Chelsea on the card? Like, she is so over and you can't find a competitor for her? Like, come on.
Yeah. So when we're talking about doing this, so I thought like the main events, they've done a pretty good of building up. All the women's matches, I think they have done a shit job of like building these up. Like the Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte Flair match now has some interest because they both went like in for themselves in that promo. And now people are like, oh shit, like is something crazy where one of them's gonna like actually shoot on the other one, like something. But other than that has been horrible. And then the EO, the triple threats, stupid because
they
said taking the title off of Rhea was weird, and then
that was shocking when it happened. Wow.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Oh, Rhea, you have a chance to get back in it." And then she doesn't get that, and they're just like, what the hell? We're still gonna triple threat match." And it's like, well, that whole thing doesn't make any sense.
They could have did the triple threat, but this is how I would have booked it, right? I would have had Rhea versus EO. Bianca would have interfered. the way that she did, except
Mhm.
instead of, Io winning, it would have been a disqualification, which cost Io a chance to get it.
Yeah.
And then by the disqualification, they could have inserted Io into it, so it's a triple threat. And then it at least would have made some sense. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
with you. It just never made any sense to me why you take it off of Rhea right before WrestleMania, only to then try to throw her back into the match. It just makes
Yeah,
no
because
sense.
because
You
what
just
if
went
she
for a
wins
shock
the match?
factor.
Yeah, because what if she wins it? Then what was the whole sense of taking it off her just to get right back to her? So it's like, it was like to get this shocking thing, be like, oh, we don't want to be predictable, but then it's like, well, then you had to have Rhea at, you want your biggest woman star on WrestleMania, but it was the only, I
Yeah.
guess, women's match that kind of has been built somewhat decent is the Cargill Naomi match.
I
But
like that build. I like the way that that's been presented so far.
And that, go ahead.
I think the thing that I think I like about it the most was that it was. I think this is Jade's like she's had a couple single matches, but this is like her first like big moment. I think the thing that I like about it is that it kind of happened like all along this time. It's not just something that happened in the last 3 weeks. Of, oh, what are we gonna do? You had like Jade as the tag champ. You have her get hurt by Naomi, and it kind of spans a while to where it's not like they forgot about it, but also it was long enough that you kind of started putting it on the back burner. So when she eventually did come back, it was like, oh wow, Jade's back. She's gonna beat up Liv because Liv jumped her, and then you get the shock of, oh, it was Naomi, and then Naomi and Bianca fall out. You get Naomi as a heel, which she's been a very good heel, and then you get the first time in 19 years, the first ever singles non-title women's match on WrestleMania, which is always pretty cool.
Yeah, I think they did a really good job on that. I do also like that they did that on night one, because I have a feeling Jade's going to win and be a factor in the night two match.
I could see that.
However,
Oh,
I will
shoot,
say
I
it's
didn't
kind of
even
weird that
realize
we
that.
have.
I didn't realize the women's triple threat was on night 2.
Yep.
I thought it was.
But I
night
will
2.
say it's kind of weird that we have a Jade Naomi match and we have no women's mid card matches.
That's crazy.
So, like, once again, why did we create those titles if we're not going to use them on WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Like, granted, I guess maybe you could say, well, if Jade or Naomi, whoever wins that, could go after a mid card title and make it make sense. It's like, well, why don't you just do that at the biggest show? But then I guess you could have had an issue if it's like Jade in this Naomi storyline. Jade comes back from injury and it's like, oh, I'm going after the title. It's like, don't you have beef with Naomi?
Yeah,
I
agree.
I
Because they
still,
put it so if we want to finish off night one card, like going up,
yeah.
the Rey Mysterio El Grande Americano match is so dumb. I know personally I'm kind of a contemporary in this. I am not a Rey Mysterio fan. Never have been.
Oh, wow.
I don't get the whole thing, I guess, because he's so tiny and all that, but I really don't want to see a 50-year-old fat Rey Mysterio wrestle anymore. Like,
I mean, I won't argue. That's kind of how I feel about the World Tag Team Championship. I could care less about War Raiders versus New Day.
Yeah.
Just that whole match does nothing for me.
Yeah, so it's like, and then the whole thing. Did you see they changed it? They first had him say he was coming from the Gulf of America, but they caused too much, so now they switched it back to saying he came from Gulf of Mexico, which still is stupid to his whole storyline. I don't know. The whole thing's dumb. I'm assuming Rey Mysterio is going to win. They're going to show that it's...
I'm with you because they're like, oh my god, they screwed up. They revealed that it's Chad Gable because they showed his tattoo. I'm like, if you read his mask, it says American made. Like, we all know it's him. There's no point to this match. Like,
He takes off the mask and it's the Big Show.
I mean, that's like, really, unless they can throw us a true curveball on who's under the mask, like, there's no point.
Like
that it would uncover that it would, like, there's no one new coming in. Like, I don't...
That's just it. They would have to sneak in somebody new that's about the same size as Chad Gable.
Like he takes it off.
I mean,
they're black.
Well, I mean, they could do the under the ring swap thing, right? Find someone who's about the same stature and quick. He has the match. He sneaks under the ring.
Yeah.
Ray pulls out the wrong guy. Oh my god, it's not really him. And then, just kidding, it is. And then he comes back out like that. But like, I mean, in general, I could care less about the match.
Yeah, that one's.
There's ways to make it suck less, but that's just it. It's still gonna suck.
I think it's just kind of like the goofball match. I mean, I guess I'm a little bit more excited for it than most people, but again, like I liked watching Chad Gable wrestle. Rey Mysterio, when he's going, he's good. I guess if there's like some kind of shenanigans where it's like, oh, it's they're taking the mask off of him, it's gonna be Chad, and it's like Kurt Angle or some silly shit. I guess that'd probably get a little pop out of me because I'm a dipshit. But or like Braun Strowman, or like you take off the mask and it's like something silly. I'd be okay with it, but it's definitely very low stakes. I think they just wanted to get Ray on the card, and this.
Yeah, I think that's it because he's probably close to done. I would assume, right?
He's.
Like maybe next year he'll do his. It's his retirement year or something.
He's really gotta have it soon.
You know for sure that his retirement match has got to be with Dominic. That's gonna be. Maybe it's like a hair versus mask match.
I was gonna say, I think it's gonna be a hair versus mask match when he retires. I think that's the only way they can really do it.
Although, I don't. Maybe it's just me. I think it'd kind of be disrespectful at this point in his career to kind of make him do that, because I know it means a lot to him, like in real life, like him having his identity, like only his family know. So
no, that's another thing with the Rey Mysterio thing that drives me nuts. He lost his mask in WCW. Like he wrestled a long time without a mask. Like what his face is, and then so just because he switched companies and he like went back to no, you lost your mask. Like
I think the mask suits him though. I think you should keep it on.
There was. I don't know all the details. I'm not going to pretend to know it. I know when they brought him back to WWE wanted the mask, and it was like this whole process where he had to go back to like essentially the Luchador Council. And they basically were like, well, you didn't technically lose it in a way that's valid, so they allowed him to do it. But I do know with Luchadors, they tended to give up the mask around retirement. So that's the only reason I think that they might finally do the hair versus mask match.
Yeah. So it's kind of way. But yeah. And then the next one is what, LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu.
Yeah, I was going to bring that one up. I honestly didn't even realize LA Knight's been the U.S. champion because he just has not been on TV, in my opinion, as prominently as I would expect. I think he's still having consistent matches, but like, it's not very advertised.
No, yeah. So I don't know. I guess I
think it's good
to take the title. I don't know. I like LA Knight, but they just don't. I don't know.
I was gonna say I think it's good to throw Jacob in that mix because if they can switch the title, then he gets a fresh face on there. Jacob's a legit contender. That like maybe it'll beef it up a little bit. Maybe we can get LA Knight out of the mid card back up towards the main event scene. I think it's like a win-win match all around.
Plus, it's Jacob Fatu, man. Anything that dude could wrestle.
Yeah.
Jared, and he'd have like an absolute banger. No offense to Jared.
Yeah. Then the next one is the tag match. Like the only thing with the War Raiders, I like that they got rid of the stupid Viking Raiders. Shit, because that was dumb as hell. But it's still like tag team wrestling has just lost it. It just isn't. I don't know.
I was gonna say both sides, and obviously we don't have the other tag match in here. But like seeing who's competing for the other tag belts too, I'm like, who are these teams, and why am I supposed to care? They've just not done a good job of any of the replacement teams. The only team that's like moderately out there is Street Profits, and at this point, I'm like, why did you never make Montez a single star? He was definitely ready like 2 years ago.
And with that, why aren't a tag team match for that one on Wrestle instead of this? Like, who wants to see War Raiders and New Day? I would rather see the Street Profits against anyone.
The New Day as heels are just not working for me.
Yeah, no.
They had it like that first initial breakup, and it's like, oh wow, this is, and then they did nothing with it. Like they should have been going after the belts immediately. They should have been in a better program. they just kind of sat on it and they sat on it and they sat on it. It's like, why? And again, about like they have the wrong tag title on. Like the one on SmackDown, they just had like this whole like parallel like dimension like multiverse of madness thing where it's like you got all these good teams. I thought for sure they were gonna get the 5 tag team like ladder match, which that would have been a perfectly fine match. But instead you get the New Day versus War Raiders. So what?
Yeah.
Big E can show up and like tap them and help the War Raiders win it, or the New Day win it.
My assumption
That's
is the New Day would just win. I don't know.
They're the heavy
Yeah,
betting favorites for that. They are minus 600. So if you bet, you'd have to bet $600 to win $100.
Yeah, and I was gonna say the tags are another one that when they unified, they should have left them unified because they just clearly don't have enough teams to really keep interest. I mean, each show is having like maybe 4 tag teams tops that are even remotely relevant. Like at least if you had 8 teams in the mix for one set of championships, like you kind of have some interest. But when it's just like 4 teams battling over and over again, you can only watch the same match so many times before you're bored of it.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
And
or
then
like have some kind of like, I know a lot of people don't like rankings and stuff like, but like I don't know, maybe have it to where they kind of, I don't know. I just don't think they cared about it, and they put too little into the Raw tag team division, and then they're like, well, we really want the New Day on for WrestleMania, and it's like, well, this is the best we can do.
Yeah, and I get the idea of having like legit tag teams. Like historically speaking, you've had some really good tag teams that are specifically tag teams.
Yeah.
But I also kind of miss the Attitude Era where you just had these random pairings of superstars where they're like, we don't really have anything creative, so we're going to turn it into a successful tag team, and it worked.
Yeah.
But like now it seems like the tag teams we get like are specific tag teams, and if they weren't, then like nothing happens with it. I think like the only time we had that was the brief moment where Cody and Jay won the tag team titles, but I think that was even like a 1 or 2 week win.
That was like a week or two, and then they
didn't have it up. Yeah.
Which I think it's kind of crazy that this whole Jay Uso character came from him getting drunk on Cody's bus and just screaming out shit during a press conference. That was what got him to just like yeeting everywhere and fucking catchphrasing all around. Which some people really like it. Again, a lot of the kids like it. Some people really don't like it. They think that it's bogus. You know, it's making money. Obviously, they like what they're getting from Jay. I think when Jay locks in and gets serious, that's great. But I think the only other one that we haven't super deep dive was the Jade Naomi, which I think that's like the best female built match for WrestleMania.
I mean, we did just talk about that a little while ago.
Yeah, we did. So I think we can move. I think we can move on to night 2 if you guys want. Unless
we still have 2 more matches in night 1 we haven't talked about really.
Oh, we have it.
The one with Tiffany Stratton with Charlotte Flair, which I'm not that interested in. I just don't. The build for it is. I would like to see Tiffany win, but I just don't see them doing that.
I think that one they're gonna rock in a hard place. If they take the belt off of Tiffany, they're gonna have a bunch of backlash because everyone's really sick of how Charlotte Flair gets injured, disappears, comes back, is in title contention. If they give it to Charlotte Flair, I guarantee she's gonna be injured by the next pay-per-view, and they're gonna take the title back off of her. We're gonna go through that whole fiasco all over again. So it's just bad all around.
Yeah.
It'll be a good match, though. I think that's the one thing. The build's been really weird. The same thing happened 2 years ago with Rhea and Charlotte, but they had a phenomenal match. That was one of my favorite WrestleMania matches that I've ever seen, was Charlotte Rhea. I'm hoping that, again, you never know how injuries go. 2 more years added on. You hope Charlotte Tiffany can at least put on a good match. If you have a good match, you can kind of work past the other stuff. But if they don't, I don't know. I think Charlotte's gonna win it. I think then you get like that really like super mega heat But I don't know if Charlotte can handle it though. She seems like Dom gets booed out of the building, but they like to boo him. Like that's kind of the whole thing. And he kind of like revels in it. He doesn't like obviously he gets upset, but it's not like Charlotte like looked super uncomfortable coming back from an injury. Like, guys, I came back, I made it stronger. And everyone's just like, leave. We do not like you. It's like,
Well, I was
damn.
gonna say that's a difference in heat. Dominic gets the we hate you, but we're actually really entertained by you heat.
Yeah.
Charlotte gets the please God go away heat. Like
Yeah.
it's not oh my God you're a great heel. It's just nobody wants you in the business right now. Fans are tired of you. They're tired of your antics.
Yeah, she gets like the Young Bucks heat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where they're like, we just don't want, like, please get off our TV show. Like, why?
Yeah. Why are you back?
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
go.
And then, so then, last one, day one is, the World Heavyweight Champion. Do you think the Jey Uso steam is starting to run out? Or do you think it's still,
I think
he's
it's-
still super over?
It's
like-
definitely.
I think he's over. I think if he loses, it's dead. But I think if he also loses, like Gunther has no momentum left. Maybe I'm the only one who thinks like that, but like I'm just tired of Gunther. He was he was unbeatable for way too long as Intercontinental Champion, and they got the World Championship on him. Great, we understand he's supposed to be this unbeatable guy, but like at some point you have to lose.
That's one of the
Like-
things about the kind of new WWE that I'm like, is they like to put the titles and to have these long championship runs. That's not how it used to be.
No,
You know,
I'm all for not like.
runs, but you would have like a couple pay-per-view run, like 5-6 months. But now it seems like every time they put one of these, it has to have it for a year or something like that. It's like a separate.
Yeah, and
I'm
like, let's have one that lasts for a while. Let's have one that lasts for like a medium effort. Let's get some transitional champs in just to test the waters. Like I felt like that's where like they could have went with Jay earlier too. Is like they could have tested it as a transitional champ just to see how fan reaction was. And then if they took it off him quick and everyone's like, why aren't you putting it back on? They're like, oh, hey, maybe this guy's got something. And I felt like that was where they're at with LA Knight. They didn't want to pull the trigger when they were, they had several chances before Roman finally lost to pull the trigger. But some of those guys really suffered with their reputation once they didn't want to pull the trigger. Because it's like, well, how am I supposed to take this guy serious?
Yeah.
I think also it's kind of interesting that like if you kind of read online, people are pretty like not really into Jey Uso, but anytime like people say you go into like live shows and you have Jey, if you go to in person, like Jey is so like there's two different subsects of wrestling fans. You have the guys that are online kind of doing their own thing, and then you have the people that actually show up to the shows. The people that show up to the shows love Jey Uso, like the entertainer, the merchandise, all that stuff. Like, I knew Jey Uso is like so over when I spent a night or a weekend at a hotel up in Appleton, and I saw like a 12-year-old kid running around with a Yeet shirt. I'm like, damn, I didn't realize how many like people like him.
Yeah,
But-
that was me. I went to the last Raw in Green Bay. I was yeeting all over the place.
Yep.
It was the greatest time of my life.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's very fun, and I think that this is like last chance for Jey at like being anything more than like upper mid card. If he loses, I don't know what you do. I think at that point you're kind of out. You're ran out of steam. The gas is empty. Your car's on the side of the highway. But also, my one little nugget of like, man, I really like Gunter, but I don't like if he loses the title, they should immediately pivot him to going for the main thing because he's been like phenomenal in the ring. Some people like him, like most people like him. Some people think that he's kind of like, just chopping all the time. Some people are like that's his like gimmick, like spamming the same move over and over again. But like Gunter's great. He's gold. He's wonderful.
Yeah.
I think they gotta put him.
If Gunther loses, I don't think it really like he's always going to be in the top title contention like around. I just think if Jey loses, because some people are talking like, oh well, like with Cody when they had him lose. I don't think that Jey Uso like over is gonna last another year.
No,
To like
I
the
think
next WrestleMania to like it's not good. It's not like Cody's like finish the story thing. Like, so
I think. Go ahead.
so I think you got to capitalize and give him the title now, right? Just
That's what I was gonna say.
and
I think you have to give Uso the title. I think you need to then copy the Roman Reigns thing and just have Gunther disappear for a little bit. It doesn't need to be till SummerSlam.
Mhm.
But, like, have him disappear for like a solid 2 months. Just
Yeah.
like give us a break so that we miss the fact that he's so dominant. Because
Mhm.
that's like I said, that's my only issue on that match is like he was so dominant in IC and then very quickly was super dominant as world champion. And like I know we're supposed to know that he's dominant, but like
Mhm.
it was too much domination too quickly.
Yeah.
We need some sort of transition.
He turned into like the big fish in the little pond of like he needs to go somewhere else. He needs to upgrade it. It's like I think what Gunter did, I think is world heavyweight. I think that fit him so well. But I think world title match, I think definitely is in the cards for him. Do we think there's any chance that Jay loses and Gunter 4-0s
I mean, yeah.
him?
I think that's a very distinct possibility they do that.
Yeah, I would say there's a strong chance that they don't pull the trigger on Jay. I just think it's going to be a really horrible business decision if they don't pull the trigger on Jay.
Yeah.
Because they easily could have Jay win and then pivot to either Seth or CM, who are this like sort of anti-hero. They're kind of heelish, but we like them too much to really boo them.
Yeah.
And so like you could have Jay be a transitional champ for, I don't know, let him defend it through Backlash and then immediately end up in a feud with one of those two and then lose it. And no one's going to be like, oh, dang, he lost it already. But they're going to also be like, but he's a legit contender. Like he could be back in the mix later.
Yep.
I agree with that. Is there anything else we have for night one? Maybe like I don't really know if they would do like impromptu matches too much. I know he's gonna have a match. There's no way he doesn't. I don't think it's night one. I think, and I saw this something that actually makes a lot of sense that I really like. I could see something where night one, like the Jacob Fatu LA Knight match, Solo tries to help interfere, but he ends up costing Jacob the match. So maybe like night two, Randy wants a match, and Nick Aldis is like, all right, you know what, we'll give you Solo. Jacob, pissed off, blows up Solo, so it's like, oh shit, we got nobody, what are we gonna do? And then you have Nick Aldis come out there and have a match. So that way, like, you're gonna be happy regardless because you got Randy on the card, but then you're gonna have Nick Aldis wrestle because he already said he wants to have a match.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I actually look at the cards, there's 7 matches night 1, only 6 night 2. So I think if they're going to do that, it's going to have to be night 2.
Yeah.
And then I could maybe see some kind of like I don't know, like if they have like some, like they always kind of like to do that. Like I think last year they had it where like you had Jelly Roll out there and then like him chokeslamming Austin Theory, or like the year before when you had Shane Money tear both quads Mac, supposed to have a match with The Miz and then he blows it up. So then Snoop Dogg's, I could see something wacky like that happening, but
Yeah.
I forgot about the quad incident. That was
that
hilarious.
was so. That is like the most morbidly funny thing I've ever seen. I mean, he got Snoop. Oh shoot! He blew it. He's hurt.
Shane just pulling his Kevin Nash impersonations.
Which, you know what? I think kudos to Snoop for recognizing that, because I think most people would have been like, wow, is this real? What's going on? Snoop immediately was like, hell no, I can do a match. Which, that was a great moment. But I think, unless you guys got anything to say, we're ready to move on to night 2.
Yep.
On to night 2.
All right. So yeah, the first match is Styles versus Logan Paul. That's another.
That's one I think should have been replaced with one of the women's matches.
Probably it.
Great, I get you're paying Logan a bunch of money. You're probably paying AJ a bunch of money. They're both really good in the ring, but there's just zero reason to have that match on the card. It doesn't stand for anything. It's not a championship. It's not contention.
Yeah.
It's like a SmackDown main event.
Yeah, it's not really.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know who. Probably Paul wins. I don't know. They have him lose enough. I don't know. I really don't care. It's
Same thing with the street fight. I mean, I know that they wanted to build up to do Damian and Drew because they both want to kind of keep them in the picture, but like
Drew
we don't need
McIntyre,
that.
man.
We don't really need
But-
that match. Like it
yeah.
was
No, they'll
He
probably
had,
get Drew another loss. Like
dude, he had the feud of the summer. Him and CM Punk were gold.
yeah,
He should have been having a title match, and I understand that this is what happened. Obviously, you can't change it, but man, going from last year having the title and then immediately losing it, which was very in character for him, that was great. To like now just kind of having that might be the best match of the whole weekend. Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest. You could see some crazy shit happen. I could see it being the match of both nights. But it's like
yeah.
it's so low stakes. Like what? Okay, Drew
Same thing
wins
with-
it. It's like what?
Same thing.
Like,
I was gonna say same thing with Priest. I mean, I thought he did a really good job when he stole the belt from Drew at WrestleMania,
that was
and
good.
then was like the second champion for World Heavyweight Champ. Well, I guess technically third because of Drew, but like I thought he did a pretty good job building up the World Heavyweight Championship. Handed it to Gunther. Great, we're on to that. But like same thing, he just like both him and Drew have just like drawn the short straw, and
yep.
it's just meh. Like, and it's not their fault. I want to see both of them wrestle. They're awesome. I just don't think this is the match that should have happened for either one.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know there's only so many title opportunities you can hand out, and if you have everything in a triple or a fatal four-way, you're gonna like lose value in it.
Yep.
It's just like,
But then I think that's where the stakes come in. Like, make the match for something.
Yeah.
I still
Like, winner
think-
of this match is going to get contention for even IC title or whatever. Like, they got to figure out a way to make some of the quote unquote meaningless matches mean something.
Like I think that's why like I know I don't think they do it anymore for AEW, but like having like a like tier list of like contendership and stuff where it's like you win matches, you move up, you lose matches, you move down, make some of these like kind of side quests like mean a little bit more where it's like, oh, Drew McIntyre wins this, so you can move up quite a bit into contention. And like, you know, it'll be a great fight, it'll be a great feud. Or it has, like, maybe it builds into something else. Maybe this launches Drew into title contention if he wins. Who knows? Drew McIntyre got done dirty though. That's how I feel about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
However, that fatal four way, I'm super pumped for the
I
IC
think
championship.
that's my second most match that I'm most excited for the night.
I gotta tell
Oh,
you,
yeah.
Braun Breaker is so. Like when that spear he at the Royal Rumble on ISO speed was.
That was like
crazy.
mean. That was like he
But then
wanted to hurt him.
Yeah.
It wasn't
It was
like.
like-
It wasn't.
And then
like,
recently that one where he's coming down the ramp and spears Carlito the fuck out of him, does a front flip after it, like.
it looked like a car crash. Like it looked like a realistic car crash. The way like his whole body flipped forward, like.
Yeah.
You see that and
Did
it's
you?
like, oh my goodness.
Did you guys see Carlito's response to his prayer? He was like, "Thank you everyone for your thoughts and prayers. My funeral service is scheduled for this Friday. My family asked for privacy during this painful time."
Mm-hmm.
On Monday Night Raw, they had it where Finn was fighting Penta. Braun starts coming out, and it's like the same spot where Braun's standing there and Carlito's there.
Yeah.
He just starts running over to like the announcer table and like jumps
Yeah.
over it. It was like, oh my, that's funny. That's funny stuff.
Yeah, the announcer's like, this was the same prediction as last or whatever. And yeah, he's like, you get the fuck out of there.
Like a bat out of hell. I think this is rare. I think this, maybe you guys can argue if you want to. I think that whoever wins this, I think I'm more than happy with it. The only one that has like a harder chance of doing it is Finn. But I could totally see Finn taking advantage of like, Dom should get the win, but then Finn steps in and takes it. I don't think there's a wrong choice. Anyone wins this, I think I'm happy.
I think the only reason they allowed Finn in the match is because they want to try to split up Judgment Day because it's kind of run its course.
Yeah, that's my
And
thought.
so, go ahead.
Yeah, my thought is that they could somehow, have Finn screw it, and then they'll basically break up the Judgment Day or get it done. Or
I was gonna say there's gonna be some sort of issue between those two in the match to where probably neither one wins. There's a chance Dom wins, and then that makes Finn even angrier. But I think, like, regardless, Finn's going to be the one who's not going to win it. I have a feeling that Braun also is going to lose, only because I think they want to push him into bigger and better things, and they can't really push him to the main event scene if he's stuck with the IC Championship.
Yeah. So then you
But
think
like,
they
he
give it
could
to
easily,
Penta?
but he could. I think they would give it to either Dom or Penta, is my prediction. But I wouldn't be shocked if they still keep it on Braun if they just don't quite think he's ready. But I personally think he's ready to go to the main event scene.
Yeah. And then if they do the whole thing between like Dom and Finn and break that whole up, who do you think, do they break up and both stay heel, or do you think they make Finn face again?
I think
Yeah, I think Finn Finn probably starts heel and then maybe goes face. I don't know. Finn's is kind of oddball in terms of, like, I don't know what to really do with him on the roster, period.
Uh-huh.
I think you could make either one work. I think Dom is on his Eddie arc.
Dom is on it. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Mhm.
You got to do Eddie where he's like technically a heel, but like deep down
He's
like,
slowly
secretly a face.
turning into this anti-hero where, like, we love to boo him, but, like, we just love to see Dom, period. And he's finally got out of being that awkward wrestler to where he's actually like getting pretty talented. I still think he could bulk up a little bit, but I also get it.
Yeah.
I think it's kind
I
of
think the fact that he is skinny is what gives him, like, the heel momentum of, you're like, why is this skinny dude still winning?
Uh-huh.
I also think it's great too that, like, if anyone else I feel like was taking moves from other people, they'd be like, you can't wrestle, you're kind of stealing stuff from other people. It works great for Dom because, one, you can tell that he like cares about wrestling and like putting in the work. He was last year like the Iron Man. He had like so many matches, just house show after house show, and like he can, like, if he steals the Three Amigos, it's like it's great for his character, but it also makes sense for him wrestling. I think that's like one of the biggest things that I like about him is that his character work fits perfectly with the way he wrestles in the ring, and it's like all in one. It's not where you have like a guy like Braun Breaker when he talks. It's like a little like I love Braun. Like his in ring stuff is phenomenal. His outside of the ring stuff has grown a lot too. Where like the in ring stuff, I like matching the character, and I think that Dom's like is perfect. If he wins it, I would be so happy.
I love that anytime he goes on a podcast, he stays in character and is just talking smack about his dad. It's so good.
Dad.
Or like people are, he's talking about CM Punk. He's like, why do people love him? He's like, he assaulted me as a kid. Talks about and that, and
isn't he like
no,
60?
Be able to go that, yeah. I like how he stayed, like he was on that Logan Paul, and they tell you, he's like talking about, they're like, but your dad's actually like really good. Yeah, like, yeah, fuck that guy. Like,
Dom's great.
And women's tag championship, we touched a little bit on earlier. Like we all kind of said, like, it just seems like a weirdly thrown together team.
Yeah, it was like they're like, we need to have this match, like, so we got to get someone. Yeah, so I assume Liv Morgan then will win again. Like, I just don't know. It seems.
I'm
weird
assuming so because I think they want to keep Liv on TV and they don't know what to do with her. So like,
yeah, and Lyra has she has a title, right? Doesn't she have the women's
Intercontinental title?
Yeah, so it'd be weird to then put two on her. I don't know. I just don't see that.
Yeah, and I'm probably an oddball on this one. I don't get the, like, I feel like Lyra has no aura. I can't buy in. I know she's supposed to be a good guy. Maybe she'd be better as a heel because, like, I don't care about her as the face.
Yeah, her push is a little, she's
her in ring talent, like, she's a talented wrestler. Her at the Crown Jewel tournament or whatever was great, but I don't know.
She reminds me of when they were trying to push Raquel, and I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, do something different because this isn't it.
Mhm.
Have her on. I think the problem is a lot of these like she just like is on TV and she has matches, but that's kind of it. You don't really learn anything about her. Like the only time she gets promos is like very like, you have a match tonight. How does that make you feel? And it's, oh, I can't wait to wrestle. I want to win. It's like, you got to give a little bit more character. Like if you're just generic wrestler A, I'm not
I
gonna
would
get
say
sold on it.
it reminds me of like the '80s, just generic vanilla. I'm the champ. I'm gonna win. I'm so excited to compete. Like, yeah, we need more than that.
Yeah, they
I
probably
think-
could have seasoned her a little more down in NXT. But
Yeah, I don't. It's something too where it's like they're not even a real tag team too. That also is
Mhm.
annoying.
They
Like-
they could have made the match Liv versus Bailey, and it would have probably been an absolute banger over doing this weird tag match.
yeah,
Yeah,
but I'm trying to think. There probably isn't another woman's tag team
Secret Harvest,
viable for that.
which, I mean, that'd be kind of cool, but I don't think they'd win it. I'm trying to think of who was in that contender, like the Pure Fusion Collective. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Didn't one of them get let go?
Yeah, Sonya Deville, the manager, the mouthpiece for the
Yeah.
group.
They like built it up so much around her, and they're like, "Just kidding, you're gone."
It's like it's like, oh well, Shayna Baszler and like they're such good wrestlers, but they just can't cut a promo to save their life, and like we'll put a mouthpiece on them, and then you get rid of the mouthpiece, and now it's like, well, they're really good wrestlers.
Although I will say they're teasing that Zoe might go like a right to censor direction from the like late Attitude Era.
Well,
And I
Right.
think if she were to somehow interfere with some mini group in the match against Liv, because apparently she was trying to call out Liv's outfit and the shorts getting shorter or something like that, then maybe by like adding a random dynamic, you're making it more entertaining. But if I'm looking at like strictly match card, knowing it's just these two teams, yeah, it's just whatever.
I mean, that would be kind of interesting, I guess, to kind of put more seasoning into the pan, but I could also just see that this is kind of like, Liv had such a good year, they want to get her on the card. Same thing with the Drew Damien. It's like they had a good year. We can't have everyone compete for the same title, so we have to have them doing something.
Uh-huh.
Yep. But for the women's world championship match, I'm actually stoked to watch this. I think it's going to be a phenomenal performance. Like I said earlier, my only gripe is I just felt the build-up was weird. I think Rhea should have kept the belt, and there should have been interference that cost Io a chance due to disqualification, and that's how they made it a triple threat.
Yeah,
I think the whole like take the belt off Rhea, but then throw her back into the match. That's the only part that's just not working for me.
I think there's a disconnect too, where Rhea's clearly supposed to be the heel, like kind of weaseling her way into it, but nobody's ever gonna boo Rhea. So it's like who's like the heel in this whole thing? Because it's supposed to be Rhea, but everyone loves her. Io's the clear baby face, and it's like Bianca's like kind of being a heel, but like not super. If you really think about it, she won in the Elimination Chamber. She's
She's not totally. She's getting some of the Charlotte treatment of like, we've seen you enough times, so we're just gonna boo you now.
Yeah.
Which I love me Bianca, and then also you have WrestleMania too. You have her streak coming along too. So a lot. Like if you look at the betting favorites, I think she's the biggest favorite of the night. No, she's the betting favorite for the match, but it's not so much so that it's a clear like she is winning it, no chance in hell.
I could see them doing it though because the amount of directions they can go after it. Because they give it to Rhea, we're gonna have like I do think it was about time for Rhea to lose it. Just like I said, I think they could have just waited to WrestleMania for her to lose it. With Bianca, suddenly you have issues with Io being mad she didn't win, Rhea being mad she didn't win, actually Jade Cargill being back in the mix because of that.
You got like
Like you just get a lot of fresh feuds with Bianca suddenly having the belt on versus giving it to Rhea.
Because then,
But I just
Yeah.
go ahead.
from what you're saying from a storyline perspective, it makes a lot of sense. Because Rhea wins it, it's you're going to have her versus Liv for the 80th time. You're going to have her
Exactly.
versus. That's it. That's literally it. Like,
I
there's
even-
no one else. For
I even
Rhea.
think going back farther, I think they screwed it up when they took the title off of Liv and gave it to Rhea. I think that should have went longer with Liv having the title.
I wish Liv had a different like. Her and
Because I
Rhea
thought
was
that
good.
storyline
But
was going better. I thought they could have kept that going on longer and built it up. But they kind of gave it to her fast, and then they took it off of her fast. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I think somehow Bianca's going to win, but somehow she's going to do some heel-ish.
I think
to
there's
get
gonna be
it.
something heelish that happens. I won't be shocked if Jade also somehow like shows up, and that could go several directions. We could suddenly get
And I could see
Jade
like
starting
Naomi.
a feud with Bianca, or we could get it where Jade is also a heel, and it turns out Naomi kind of got screwed by both Bianca and Jade out of this whole thing.
Or I could see like Naomi coming back, and then her helping, and them basically be like, "Yeah, I knew all along. I was, that whole thing. Like they swerved everyone."
Yep.
I
And
can
that,
also
like see.
also they like to do this a lot too, where like something happens in the match and it's like kind of like, well, it's not fully on like Bianca, but it also is kind like they kept doing that with Liv and Dom, where it's like, oh, Dom betrayed Rhea. And it's like, no, that was a mistake, and then oh, it's a mistake, and then they finally do the, oh yeah, it was Dom did that on purpose. I could see where they keep it ambiguous, so if they ever have a change of heart, they can be like, well, it didn't happen. But if they want to keep going on, so I could see.
I think you're spot
like
on. I think they're going to do something ambiguous because I think then that way they can do the quick turnaround for Backlash.
Yep. Because I could see something where they probably wouldn't run it back for Backlash, but like if let's say Jade cost Rhea the match for somehow, some way, and Bianca wins it, they could do Bianca versus Rhea at Backlash, like quick turnaround, get her a chance, let Bianca they can. I could see them doing that. I could also see it being like because Bianca and Io are so focused, or Bianca and Rhea are so focused on each other, not really taking Io very seriously. Io wins it because they kind of take their eye off the ball.
Yeah.
But then I don't think they take Bianca's streak off yet. I think that they know that could be a moneymaker thing. I know that that's something they can advertise. I don't think Bianca loses. I think she wins it.
Good. Yeah, I don't know.
And then we have the main event, Cody versus John Cena. I know we talked quite a bit about that earlier.
Yeah, I've had some time to process on this one, and I think they're going to do an inverse of last year. So I think we're going to start to get this like last year felt like the whole like Avengers Assemble moment, right? And the good guys won. And I feel like we're going to start to get an Avengers Assemble moment. I think we're going to get some rattlesnakes out there.
You're gonna get the Infinity War.
But yeah, I think it's going to go completely poorly at the end. Cena's going to get the win, and we're going to get that 17th championship in a full Cena heel arc. And maybe then it'll finally work.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of speculation going on right now, because I know The Rock made a post of him staring at a Rubik's Cube with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Some people are arguing like maybe that means someone else not named Travis Scott or The Rock comes out and helps. Like, is it maybe like a new like Hollywood faction or something? I don't really know how that would work. I'm assuming The Rock's gonna be there. To kind of cost Cody the match, and I would assume that there'd be someone else to come, because if you have Stone Cold come out, you gotta have The Rock come out to like, kind of like neutralize.
That's what I was gonna say. I think The Rock's gonna come out. I think Stone Cold's gonna stunner him, but I think there's gonna be some wild card we don't know about who's gonna be the deciding factor and allow Cena to win.
Some new guy,
like a Logan Paul. I do think like Rhodes is kind of overdue for the loss. Not that I haven't enjoyed him as champion. I think he's awesome. But like to our point on like long championships, by now I thought Cody would have lost it and won it, and we'd be on like Cody's second championship run already. And I feel like they kind of missed it. I feel like they should have at some point had him quick drop the belt and quick gain it back, just to get him to like number 2 already. Like, by the way, sorry we kind of screwed up the first WrestleMania when you really should have won it. So here's your second title run, even though you really didn't not have the belt for very long.
I think it reached. It's kind of like when you go to sleep at night, or like if you like on the weekend, and you're like, man, I'm just gonna stay up how I feel, and it felt like you get to that point where you're like, you know what, this is very comfortable. I think I'm ready to go to bed. I kind of feel that way with Cody as at least as the champion for this current run. I feel like he won the big match against Roman, and he's had a lengthy-ish, he's had it for a year. Like, that's kind of, the length that you want. You don't know, everyone can't be Roman. Not everyone can hold it for years and years and years. And I feel like to kind of lose it to John Cena, to kind of, one, you give John Cena the belt as a heel, and get him number 17, so he's on top. And then, 2, you can create, you can have the rematch for that. You can have Cody, maybe he doesn't immediately get the rematch. He has to work towards it, and you get the babyface, like, doing the chase again. Maybe it's Cody goes after something else. Maybe he takes time off. You make us miss Cody.
I feel like you have him. There's a couple people, obviously Gunther too, but I think both him and Cody could disappear for a bit, and then you could almost flip them, right, to keep things interesting. Now have Cody try to get at some point during the year to the World Heavyweight Championship to try to put some prestige on it. He gets the second title, great, and then that way Gunther isn't just hanging around with the quote unquote secondary title. And you try to balance them out so there's actually some prestige on both.
You kind of get, and then you can create new storylines by doing that too, where instead of the same 7-8 people going back and forth, it can, now you got, like Monday Night Raw, you have Cody Rhodes coming out and doing matches instead of SmackDown, even though Cody's been kind of doing a little bit of both. And then you can have Cena do, like, new feuds with, like, if, I don't know, like Braun Breaker wants to have a match, or like Drew McIntyre versus John Cena, or like AJ Styles, or something like that.
Well, and that's where, let's take I'm kind of getting out there, so you can reel me back in. But let's say Braun loses the IC title. Let's say Gunther loses his championship. Gunther ends up going after the WWE championship. You could start to then have like a Braun versus Gunther if he gets the belt well after Cena's, seeded it or whatever. Like, you can kind of go some crazy directions with that just by shuffling things around.
You think they're going to do that, or do you think for Cena last that he's going to want to be like have feuds for some of the last, if he has the title, with like big names?
I think he's going to have feuds with big names, and then I think that one of those big names will end up in a feud with Gunther. And then I think that's how you transition it.
Like, I think they're gonna do something with him, with like Roman and like Cena, like Punk, like.
I think
because like those will be big time, numbers.
I think he's gonna have another Orton match too.
I think they flip
something like that.
I think you start off with him doing the big name, like him versus CM Punk SummerSlam or something like that. Him versus Randy at Backlash, or him versus Roman, and then maybe he loses the title. Maybe he has a come to Jesus moment where he's like, what am I doing? And you can have him end as a face, but then have him put over someone else. Like, have him have his retirement match be like Braun Breaker, or like Dom Mysterio,
I just
or something
thought of
like
a really sick idea.
What are you thinking? What did you
So
cook?
what if okay, what if we're going to the Cody Cena match, right? I'm saying that we're doing the flip, right?
Yep.
So let's say that Rock comes out, and then Stone Cold comes out and takes care of the Rock, and then somebody's going to have to take out whoever takes out Stone Cold, right? Because Stone Cold's someone's going to have to take him out, and then Then Orton comes out, and we think he's going to save Cody because they're buddies, and he RKO's Cody and lets Cena pin him. And that's all a part of a long-term plan for Randy
Could be.
Orton to get his chance at Cena.
Yeah.
And then Randy could potentially, at some point, get the belt off of Cena when his arc is ending, and then you finally get the Cody versus Orton match that everybody's been asking for.
I could see that being WrestleMania 42 main event.
That would be sick.
Because I thought we were going to get it this year, to be honest.
Yeah, that happened. I also could see like Cody winning, and then in the night one somehow like Heyman screws over with Punk, and they try to make Punk like heel again, and then that sets up this heel Punk versus face Orton.
Yeah,
Like SummerSlam. There's a lot of ways they can go with it.
I think that's the nice part about this. Like, obviously, I'm excited for, like, the matches and stuff, but it's kind of cool that you get to watch the matches, but, like, there's so many, like, what's the aftermath? How do you pick up the pieces? It's not like maybe there's a couple WrestleManias before where it's like, well, there's not a whole lot of pieces. You basically have your stuff tied in stone. Like,
and that's the one thing. Go ahead.
Like, I forgot which WrestleMania it was where John Cena beat The Miz, but then The Rock came out and screwed him, so it's like, oh, he's going to be the main event next year. It's like, that's already well in advance of us organically getting there. And it feels like, this year, like, afterwards, there's so many pieces, and if they're, like, even, like, moderately, like, fluctuate, like, they're okay with being liquid about it, like, hey, we'll move guys, we'll do this, we'll do that. It could be really entertaining.
That's what I was going to say, is I feel like this overall match card, there's a couple, like, phenomenal matches, but obviously compared to the last two, it's kind of like, eh. But I think they're being really smart, and I think they're going to be setting up a lot of long-term stuff that's going to be like, okay, this year's WrestleMania wasn't necessarily the best matches, but it left us in a way that we were super ecstatic to get to the next year.
If the stories are great, you can make up for, like, last year was pretty crazy with, like, you having The Rock wrestle and then Roman Cody. Like, you're not gonna, you still have, like, names, but your stories is what's gonna go over. Like, you could have all these, like, legends wrestle, and it's like, that's cool, but, like, we were talking about getting Goldberg versus Gunter. Like, that's cool for, like, 5 seconds, and it's like, then what are we doing?
Yeah.
And, like, I feel like in a different era, in a more Vince McMahon era, we would have gotten that, like, kind of like quick pops, and it's like, what's the long-term story here? Like, what, there's not an organic, naturally flowing story. It's just, oh, well, we gotta have the big names here. Da-da-da-da. It's like, it's not, it doesn't make it feel real. It makes it feel very phony.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's night 1 and night 2. You also got Stand and Deliver on Sunday.
No one's watching that.
I mean, last year they had a really good. That Oba Fenmi match was fucking crazy. Him, Dijak, and the other guy was crazy, but I mean, no one's watching that. You got the Hall of Fame ceremony on Friday, which,
here's a better question. When exactly, like, what time are they doing Stand and Deliver? Because I always feel like that's really the problem with NXT pay-per-views.
They do it before WrestleMania, so it's like last year I think it was Sunday at like 2 or 3, so it finished right before WrestleMania started.
So, I mean, then they might get some viewers. Because I feel like that's usually the problem I have with NXT pay-per-views. I actually don't mind them. I feel like they're just always on at an inopportune time. And I get it. It's probably an easier way to get a lot of eyeballs on it to do it the same day as a big pay-per-view, right? Because you can essentially let people just show up early and watch it.
Yep.
But I really wish they would use it as some sort of supplemental thing of like, hey, I'm waiting for this to build. Can you, like, maybe give me an NXT thing this weekend just so I have something to do?
I kind of compare it to, like, when you're like, WrestleMania is the big fancy dinner. NXT Stand and Delivers, like, man, I really want to get my wrestling in on Sunday. It's like, you know what? Let me get something quick and easy. And granted,
Yep.
depending on who you ask, NXT is like the best wrestling brand. I'm not.
I go back and forth. I've admittedly not followed it very closely since the CW switch, and I partially blame WWE for getting me too hooked on streaming. Throw it
Yes.
on Tubi. Throw it on like Pluto.
Give
Like,
everyone
give
the
it to me on a
Netflix
streaming
deal.
service.
It's never been more apparent the difference between it being on a streamer like the Netflix Raw and then going to watch SmackDown on like the USA Network where you're like you can like Netflix Raw is like it can go as long or as short as it needs, and like there's like little different things that are different versus like you have 3 hours of SmackDown, and some weeks it's worth it, and then some weeks you got bullshit, and you're like, man, this sucks.
Well, and see, I'm wrapping up grad school now, but when I started, that's how I was getting into NXT because I just was like, yeah, there's nothing really on Tuesday. I'll start watching NXT. But like, I don't know. I've gone totally spoiled by Raw on Netflix. I can watch it whenever. I don't really care if it starts at 7. I can throw it on whenever it's convenient. If I want to start watching at 7, I do. If I want to wait until 9 o'clock, I can do that. And I feel like the more annoying part with NXT being on CW, you can watch it, but I feel like it's usually you have to wait till the next day.
Yeah.
And like, nobody's got time for that. Just throw it on Tubi. Let me watch it whenever I want. That way, then you're kind of getting some motivation towards another streaming service, but just do it on one of the freebies. So you're like, hey, if you really want to check out WWE, you don't want to pay any money, you go to this streaming service, but you're still giving me the perks that I would get from like a Raw scenario.
I wish it was all on Netflix.
It should all be on Netflix. Oh,
I miss WWE Network.
how can we forget
Yeah.
the most important thing happening this weekend? The roast of WrestleMania. Is anyone going to even watch that? That's going to be the dumbest shit ever. Or I feel like he's going to like people are making jokes. They're going to like, oh, he's going to make a Chris Benoit joke. I'm like, either it's going to be really lame or it's going to be this is never happening again.
I didn't know it existed, and I really wish I still didn't know that it existed.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think I don't get it.
I don't know what it's on. I'm pretty sure I'm not going to watch it.
If I could totally see like a highlight getting like absolutely blown up if he says something ridiculous, because I mean the last time he was on some kind of major event, I don't remember what it was to quite exact, but he said some colorful comments, I think. So we'll see. I don't care. I could care less. And then obviously you got the Raw after, which is always kind of interesting. Last year was kind of eh.
Yeah, it's usually one of the best.
The year before that, you had the one where Vince McMahon had a day, which was really fucking weird. Hopefully, and then maybe this one can be a little bit better. We'll see.
Hopefully they I feel like they've had some issues with TNA, but I feel like that would have been a really good thing to like
Kick it off.
throw some TNA, kick it off with some TNA crossover. And I feel like Backlash, I mean, I get it, Backlash is supposed to be the direct counter to WrestleMania, but I feel like, post WrestleMania, you could immediately do a crossover while you're figuring out how you're going to spin all these storylines. And it'd be an easy way to do like a cheap rivalry without really cheapening it, because it's just suddenly like, these guys showed up and, oh, we're doing a crossover event. We didn't expect it, so it doesn't have to make a lot of sense.
WrestleMania is like the season finale, and then Raw after is like the new season. And when you watch your favorite show, sometimes the new season starts off differently and has maybe not chronologically the same as what happened in season finale, where like you can kind of get a little weird, a little wacky, but like if that's when you want to have Joe Hendry show up and have a match, and you can do that. If you want to have something weird, maybe someone returns, you can do that if you want.
Hopefully Alexa Bliss shows up soon, since she just showed up and disappeared.
Yeah. Yeah, people are talking about like people coming back, but there's really like no superstar that's like been out that like
No, that's why I think that there's a couple of them from the card that should go disappear. I guess it's a blessing that we suddenly aren't having like serious injuries on wrestlers like we've had in some past years. But you almost need some of them to go away just so there's some level of excitement that this guy's back again.
Ilya
Yeah,
Dragunov's going to be coming back at some point too.
And like some of the guys that they've signed from AEW, it doesn't make sense to debut them here, like Aleister Black or Rusev. Like it doesn't, it doesn't
You don't
seem
want them
like
to lose their open. Like if they come back, it's like, wow, you don't want them to lose.
well, and they're not big enough, I think, to make the comeback here. I think they're not that.
Omos.
Oh God, he's so.
Bring him
So
back.
bad on that guy.
Supposedly he was really over during his time in Japan. I feel like just WWE doesn't know what to do with him, and I think that's because the Vince booking remained for too long. Of he's giant, so we want to keep it rare, but like then they weren't doing much with him.
The problem is
Andre
he's
the
like Great
Giant Battle
Khali. He
Royale,
can't
man.
do anything. He doesn't have athletics. He's so stiff. Like he can't do anything. So it's like
I
you
know
can't really
that's
do
how
matches with him.
But that's why I think
40
I'm
sorry.
Go ahead.
WrestleMania 40 was the one that I got back into, and I was like, dude, Omos Brock Lesnar, that's going to be such a fun match because it's Brock versus this big tall guy. And then after like 30 seconds, I'm like, oh, he's kind of slow. It's kind of cool,
Yeah.
but it's like watching a giraffe fight. It's like, this is kind of...
He's got to be like the enforcer. Like you got to have him be like the enforcer for like Logan Paul, and he just is always
Ooh, I like that.
interfere.
Ooh.
And he's always interfering. And
That would work, and that's what I was gonna say. That's why he was. I feel like he fits the tag division situation. You could throw him in a tag team with almost anybody to give some level of change up, right? Like here's the giant guy, we can pair him with anyone who's not giant, and it's going to be entertaining. But like he doesn't have to be tied to just a single tag team. So like throw him in with Logan Paul, let them do a tag team for a bit until that goes south, and you can throw him with another random person. And he's the type of guy you can take off air for a little bit and bring back. But I agree, he's not like the best in-ring person.
Yeah.
But like when he does interviews, he's really good. I feel like he's not bad at promos. They just don't let him cut promos.
yeah, you just can't give him a push as like a single wrestler because he can't wrestle and that big. Like it's just you can't do anything with him.
It's more of an attraction, kind of like, oh, they're having Omos on the cards. Like that'd be kind of cool to see him.
Yeah, because guys like The Undertaker, Kane, Big Show that are big and can move and do are
They were
rare.
athletic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like,
yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's about time to wrap this up.
I think the only thing before we wrap it up and get to our hot topics, I guess, is some notable snubs this year. I know last year the big snub was like, I'm trying to think who got snubbed last year. I think I can't really think off the top of my head. I know like WrestleMania 40, the big snub was like Bobby Lashley missed out on a match. Bray Wyatt missed out on a match, but he obviously was having health conditions. There's always every year.
Last WrestleMania, he was dead. So
not WrestleMania 40.
Oh, the one before last year?
Yeah,
no,
40,
he
was still
he wasn't alive last year, was he?
WrestleMania. Oh no, WrestleMania 39. I'm sorry.
Okay, I was gonna say
39 because people thought that
40 he was dead, my dude.
Yeah, my bad. My bad. I keep thinking it's 42.
My big WrestleMania snub is Chelsea Green.
Chelsea Green.
She puts on bangers of matches. I don't know if you've ever watched her versus Penta, but that was ridiculous. And the fact that she can go in a mixed match and put on a banger like that, I'm like, how do you put a belt on her and then not use her?
Mm-hmm.
I think I think the only bad thing about her is Def Rebel. I'm like, their theme song was fine before. It was fine, and they changed it. And it like went so...
Def Rebel is single-handedly trying to kill pro wrestling.
I think I'd rather have Jared sit on his like computer with like Fruit Loops like program making songs for guys than Def
I'm
Rebel
pretty sure we
continue.
could buy... I think we could buy a keyboard at a garage sale and use the presets and put out better entrance music.
The one
than
with
Def
like
Rebel
the cat
puts
on
out.
him, like the meow 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 meow.
Yep.
I will say this though, Death Rebel has been horrible, but now it's gotten to the point that anything they do, people complain. I thought the Street Profits new stuff wasn't that bad,
I'm okay with that. I think it's solid.
but it's
Penta's
like because they did it, they're all like, oh my god, everyone's like, this isn't bad, like, oh,
The
but
only one I like of theirs is Jey Uso's.
Uso, dude, I'll be watching Raw on my TV, and I'll be going to get like a bag of chips or something. I'm just walking around eating. I'm like, this is like, when I first heard it, I was like it was like the bell curve of like, I hate it. And then I was like, or no, I was like, I really liked it. And then I kept growing on me, and I'm like, man, this sucks. It's stupid. And then now
I
I'm
always
like,
feel,
I'm about to get a moose. It's very catchy.
I always feel like Patrick. I'll like run to the bathroom and suddenly Uso's song comes on. I'm come waddling out.
They ruined AJ Styles' theme. His theme song now is fine, but oh my goodness, you don't want none.
Who's the other one who returned and everyone's like, who the hell are you?
Was it? Who was it? I know.
I don't know about Return, but Logan's Paul music's horrible.
Yeah, his new one is sucked. His old one was whatever, but at least he had the like it's just like random rapping. I don't get that at all. Def Rebel is a national travesty. The only theme song that I'm like, the Jey Uso one is good. Penta's music I actually kind of like. Did they do Fatu? I don't know if
I don't know.
Jacob Braun Breaker's theme song's pretty solid too. I like that one. I'm trying to. I can't think of any other one.
To be fair though, I think they had a blueprint with his. I feel like they just kind of took what they used for Steiner's plus his dad plus Scott Steiner and just took the best elements and made up a theme.
It's funny though because people go, well, they came up with like Roman Reigns' theme. I'm like, dude, if they would not give Roman a shitty theme song, they would Roman, The Rock, all the Samoan dudes would like step in and go, no, we're gonna have a good theme song or you're getting beat up.
With how much they're investing into Roman at that time, I guarantee there was like 47 revisions before they finally got to one that was acceptable. Which is probably why all the other themes suck. Maybe they just used all their creativity on Roman.
They blew the load on Roman, and now it's like, shit, what do we give, what do we give Logan Paul? I know, just get some random dude we found on the street to start rapping real quick. But yeah, Chelsea Green, I think, is the biggest snub. I'm trying to think. I think the SmackDown tag titles, biggest snub. I think they should have been on WrestleMania over the War Raiders. And then after that, I think, honestly, besides Chelsea and SmackDown, like off the top of my head, like, Karrion Kross?
He's still...
R-Truth? I don't know who else should have been on the card.
I will say, I feel like Karrion has not been done appropriately, but like, because they haven't built him up, he doesn't deserve to be on the card. Like, they really got to figure out something to do with him. He's got a lot of potential, but they just have not capitalized.
And all stuff's been backstage. He finally had a match recently against AJ. Otherwise, when was the last time he had a match before that?
Probably with the Authors of Pain that got fired.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, after them, I think that you have the really bad snub with Chelsea. You can argue not having the SmackDown tag titles, not having the mid card for the women's on the title, and I think after that, I think that for the most part, that snubs this year was okay. Like, no Sammy, but Sammy was going to take time off. Unless you have Sammy come out for something. I don't know.
No, I think it's fine. Like, yeah, I think they got enough. It's 2 days. There's enough matches. I don't really think there's any like, oh, God, I want to see this guy.
Yeah, like we said earlier, I feel like most of the problem is just maybe they got too many belts. You could easily say, oh, this belt's not on here, this is a problem, but I think that speaks more to just having too many belts, period, less than, oh my God, this match should have been on the card.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I know that they like to have shorter matches on the card so they can go longer if they need to.
Yep.
Like if a match draws a little too much into overtime, you're not. Well, shoot, we gotta make this 3-minute squash match a 2-minute squash match or whatever. But yeah,
I will say the last thing I'll say on this is I know people are freaking out that there's no pre-show matches. However, you bringing up the fact that Stand and Deliver is essentially happening there, they should have probably just gave Chelsea Green a chance to defend her title on Stand and Deliver.
Yeah.
I think that would have
They
been.
could.
It'd been better to have her do something instead of nothing.
I was saying they could have did that with NXT talent, so then Chelsea's at least getting some ring work, you're getting some eyes on the belt, and you're utilizing some NXT talent. But
But yeah, this definitely went a little bit longer than I thought it would. WrestleMania episode. I kind of figured it was gonna be a long one, but damn, I'm good. We went into it. But before we close out the show, I think we gotta do with our tried and true hot topics of the week. As my guest, I will let you guys go first. Ryan, what's your hot topic of the week?
I was not expecting to go first.
Oh, okay, I'll be nice. I'll go first so you guys can think about it a little bit. My hot topic of the week is that I am quite excited for the new Oblivion remake. I didn't really get to enjoy a Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. I was just
Sorry, I'm
checking.
gonna take over here. Oh god.
Oh, okay.
I might throw up.
I wasn't too into Oblivion, trying to get into it because I felt like just the way it looked. Maybe it makes it sound. I don't mind graphics for a game if it's fun, but man, I just couldn't get past the potatoes that the people looked like the gameplay. It was dated. I think for me, which is weird because I played older games and I liked it. It felt like something that I just had issues like getting super into. So them remastering it, I feel like could be a great way to experience it. Maybe like if they remaster it properly though, because I've seen remasters and they like ruin it. Which Bethesda, I have a pretty mixed reaction on for the recent stuff. So we'll see. I can't wait until that comes out. Ryan, sorry for stealing your spot, buddy. What's your hot topic of the week?
I'm just going to stay on topic with wrestling and just say my one gripe is that WrestleMania is on Easter. I think
Who
that
chose
if they have a
that?
full year to plan it, let's not do this on a holiday weekend again. Kind of blew up
I
all
agree.
our plans of getting together and having a great WrestleMania party.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think every single person here has something they have to do on Saturday when it's like, man, that's night one of WrestleMania. So now, some of us might be able to watch it. I, unfortunately, will not be able to watch night one live. I already had to basically game plan it around Sunday being the laziest day ever of just watching 4 hours of show and then watching 4 hours of show. So
And that's not even including Stand and Deliver.
I think I might pass on that. No offense, NXT matches. There's always one match that I watch afterwards that I'm like, man, I wish I would have watched it live. That looked like so much fun. But I think with the way the cards were laid out this year, I'm like, I gotta watch night one, night two. It's gonna suck for spoilers though, but I'll just have to stay off my phone for Saturday or Sunday morning, and I'll be okay.
I'll do my best to not send anything in a group chat.
I think what I'll probably do, because I know Saturday we're supposed to go out and do stuff, I'll probably just silence my phone. And then Sunday morning, I'm going to wake up, maybe go get some McDonald's breakfast or something, and then immediately just start watching it.
Now you're talking.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. But Zach, before we close it out, what's your hot topic of the week, buddy?
Well, I mean, I guess just excited for WrestleMania watch. Saturday we will be doing our Easter thing, and I don't know. Guess that'll be fun. Decent, good food. Friday, the boys, you two will be coming. We're going to Oshkosh for a little shopping and stuff.
Gonna get our nails did.
Oh, no.
Maybe you will.
Maybe you will. I'm going to do Ryan. So I told Jared this. I'm going to do window shopping for something you're probably going to think is pretty stupid. And that. But
Yeah.
I'm thinking about possibly buying a new set of irons.
Ooh.
See, and I golf so much that
Hey, if anything, I'll just get some new irons to use.
maybe.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
I thought about ordering some online. I kind of like those Tokomo ones.
Tacoma.
Yeah.
Tacoma and that.
That's what I was gonna recommend. I won't eat up podcast time on this, but strongly recommend those.
Yeah, I was thinking those, but yeah. So I think we might go to the Golfers Outlet just to see other ones. I don't know. I don't know if I'll hit anything. Maybe I will. Or just the window shot. Be like, oh, maybe. But yeah, I was thinking of. Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about possibly ordering those Tokomos. Just for why not?
Can't argue with it.
Well, yeah. Other than that, I'm good. We're gonna have to wrap this up because I'm about ready to piss myself.
I know. I gotta go pee. I know. We're gonna wrap this up. I will be letting you guys know that next week we will be taking a bye week, so the Jerk Circle podcast will not be on next week. But the week after, we plan on having full production. You know, a couple of our guys, Jared's NIL deal almost ran up, so we had to renegotiate. He needed a bye week.
That's right. That's right.
Dylan, his NIL deal was almost up, so we had to negotiate for him. I don't get paid, so, you know, I'm just kind of here. But yeah, this is, you know, how could we forget about Jared? I'd ask him his hot topic of the week, but you know what? He didn't contribute, so he gets nothing.
That's all right.
All right. This
I got a
podcast
good
went
nap,
on long
I'm
enough.
not going to lie.
I know, it sounds like you're falling asleep, buddy.
I did.
There you go.
I'm surprised we didn't hear you snore.
Me too.
But yes, the Jerk Circle podcast. We will be seeing you guys soonish. But until next time.